Hey everyone, welcome to episode 230 of the All Dolphins podcast on this Monday, February 26th, 2024. He's Omar. I am Pupar. See, it rhymes. We are going to talk today about Pupar and Omar. It rhymes.
Okay.
It doesn't rhyme? Okay.
I didn't think so, but I'm
Pupar, Omar, it doesn't rhyme?
Par Omar. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. I can see it.
Oh, it's early in the morning. Holy moly.
I
Forgive
like
my
to
partner.
know.
It's early in the morning. Okay. Today we are going to talk about briefly goings on of the Dolphin Challenge Cancer event on Saturday, and we're obviously going to focus more on the scouting combine, which begins actually today in Indianapolis, which is where I will be for the next podcast the rest of the week. I am going to be flying out this afternoon after Omar finish up our little chat. We will start as we always do with our history lesson. Sorry, those who don't like it.
Stop
Exactly.
explaining it. Just
I,
do it.
I'm trying to be polite to those who don't like it. Anyway, today is episode 230, so we're looking at the 30th overall pick in the draft, where the Dolphins have had exactly one of those. I will give you some hints, Omar, before you can jump in and tell me if you know the player. The Dolphins actually had the
Oh
26th pick that year, traded back 4 spots with the Green Bay Packers to select
no,
Noah Igbinoghene.
Igbenogany.
Yep.
Oh damn.
Yeah. They also got a 4th-round pick in that draft for to make the move back 4 spots. They used a 4th-round pick to move up in the 4th round to reclaim a pick that was theirs that they had traded to Houston. And with that pick, they selected Solomon Kindley. And the Packers, with that number 26 pick, selected Jordan Love.
You know what's interesting about that Noah Igbenogany pick, and I'm not going to be a fraud and say that he wasn't part of my man crush list, because I did have Noah as part of my man crush list as a 2nd-round pick. Noah, I don't know why he didn't pan out. He should have panned out because he had the athleticism, he had ability. Just the mental just wasn't there.
Lack of instincts.
Yeah, lack of instincts. But that pick should have been Antonio Winfield Jr. And the fact that he's going to be one of the top free agents out there on the market right now, if he doesn't get the franchise tag from the Buccaneers, man, I've always viewed the draft as pick a player who in 5 years you're going to have to give a pace-setting contract to. And that should be who you're selecting early in these rounds. And Antonio Winfield should have absolutely been the pick over Noah Igbenogany if you didn't want to go the running back route. And everybody says you shouldn't select a running back in the 1st round. I don't necessarily agree with that line of thinking, but I've been beaten down by life, so I don't fight that fight anymore. Yeah,
The sad part about sorry, Omar. The sad part about it is if they wanted to go the running back route, they could have had their pick of any of them because none had been picked before. So they could have had CEH, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, and there was Corey Dillon. No, not Corey Dillon, A.J. Dillon. So they could have had their pick of any of the running back, whichever flavor they wanted to get. I would have had no issue with Antoine Winfield. Antoine Winfield's a baller.
Yeah, no. That regrettable mistakes you make, those are the ones that are going to haunt you. And Noah, unfortunately, was a mistake. But wisely on their part, they dumped him and gave up the guaranteed contract and lowered their cap number and got a player that they can dump. And then they did dump him. Then they did dump him. So they unloaded the deal. So that's a step in the right direction.
Well, it was one last year, and then career update for Noah Benagani. He's now scheduled to become an unrestricted free agent this offseason.
Yeah, if you want Noah, hell, no. I'm like, no. I was like thinking, like, hell, if you want Noah, you can get him back for cheap. But I was like, no, let's not.
No. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the caliber of player that's going to be able to replace Xavier Howard. Speaking of,
if you would actually drafted right,
we don't know yet. We can't close.
Noah was absolutely drafted to replace Xavier. And
no, I'm talking about Cam Smith.
Yes. But I'm saying Noah was absolutely drafted to replace Xavier.
Eventually, yeah, because the writing was on the wall with X that at some point they're going to have to move on from him. Speaking of X, I have a story up on this Monday morning. I actually have 3 stories up already on alldolphins.com. There we go. Come on. There you go. There we go with the hearts, including one on X, like some of the fallout. A lot of interesting comments on Instagram to his post. A along with what possibly could be next. Also addressing his place in Dolphin history. And yes, he has a place in Dolphin history among the best cornerbacks this team has ever had. Like him or not, that's unquestionable. Also a piece inside the quote-unquote swap of defensive coaches between the Dolphins and the Green Bay Packers, with Anthony Campanelli going to Green Bay, Joe Barry coming to Miami, with some cool behind-the-scenes stuff. And a major hat tip to Peter King, legendary NFL writer Peter King.
The King.
Yep, announced his retirement in a column, which included it was mostly like a career retrospective, included a very interesting Dolphin nugget in the section of 10 things I think. You definitely want to check it out. We begin with the Dolphin Challenge Cancer event, which was Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium. That thing has blown up since it started in 2010 after one of the biggest faces of the franchise, Jim Mandich, player, longtime radio voice, was diagnosed with cancer. Sadly, he passed away in 2011. But they started that event in 2010. It's just grown and grown and grown and grown. This year, President, CEO, Vice Chairman Tom Garfinkel told us after the event, and he participated, in case you're wondering, he rode 39 miles on a bike. They were anticipating to top 7,000 participants, raise more than $12 million. So major hat tip to what the Dolphins continue to do with that event. I eyeballed a bunch of Dolphin players, present and former, who took part, including Christian Wilkins. And before we jump to the conclusion of, well, that means he's staying, because otherwise, why would he take part in there? Cedric Wilson Jr. also took part in the bike race, and I don't think that anybody's expecting Cedric Wilson Jr. to be back. Javon Holland was there, Christian Wilkins, David Long Jr., Raheem Mostert, saw Liam Eichenberg, Zach Sealer. They were not the players I already mentioned were riding the bike. Zach Sealer, Liam Eichenberg were doing the 5K. All started off with a speech from Stephen Ross and Mike McDaniel. Jalen Phillips, who is a board member of the DCC, could not ride, obviously, but he made it a point as he came over to talk to us, the group of Dolphin riders who were there. Hey, look, no boot, no scooter. And he's just as cut as ever. And I'd forgotten, I've been around the dude like quite a bit. I'd forgotten just how tall he was. I was like, my Lord. You never forget. Oh, my Lord. I was like, damn, I'd forgotten how tall he was. Holy moly.
He falls into the I was saying this today on the Joe Rogan show. He falls into the Cameron Wake category of like guys who are just ridiculous workout warriors. Mm-hmm. And so if somebody is going to make it back on time, a 9-month Achilles rehab, it would be Jalen Phillips. So best of luck to him, and hopefully he doesn't suffer any setbacks, because that's truly what it's about.
Correct. And we asked him specifically about, are you ahead of schedule? And he's like, I don't know anything about schedule. All I know is everything. And again, probably chances are he wouldn't say it, especially if he was behind schedule. But he's talking about like the rehab's been great and all that, and there's no setbacks. Everything's been fine. He's communicating with Bradley Chubb, who's recovering from his torn ACL, and they're doing great. And one last thing on the event before we move on to the combine. When we were sitting down with Tom Garfinkel, and I know, prepare to roll your eyes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because I know you're going to do it, because so many fans ask about it. I'm like, okay, Tom, fans want to know, what's the deal with the throwback uniforms? Will they ever become permanent? And he basically provided the answer of, we do it twice a year to celebrate our history, and it makes it special that we do it twice a year. Again, he's certainly not. Sorry?
That didn't answer the question. Can we get rid? You did a bad job of asking the question. The question is, can we get which is I think what the issue is, Dolphin fans. Can we get rid of the supposedly happy Dolphin? Which they say this Dolphin looks happy. Not that you should look depressed or angry or mean. It's a Dolphin.
But that wasn't the question. That's not the question I get all the time on Twitter and when I do mailbags. The question is, why aren't they wearing the throwbacks permanently? Which is why I asked it that way.
Why don't the throwbacks become the permanent jerseys? Why can't
That's exactly what the question was.
Yeah. I mean, why can't you change the logo back to the old logo? Should have been the question.
Well, I'll try to do better next time, Professor.
Right. Don't fail the people. You have your opportunity and you squandered it. You got a canned weak answer
What
about.
else do you think? What else do you think he would have answered? Come on, man.
He should have said Steve Ross loves this logo too much and isn't gonna change it. So wait for new ownership change.
Do you honestly? Okay, that's a realistic answer to expect. So I have zero qualms whatsoever when I ask a bad question, and oftentimes I berate myself after the fact. In this particular case, sorry, yes. Omar, no, I have no issue. The idea was to get Tom Garfinkel on the record. Why are they not switching to the throwbacks permanently? And he gave the answer, which we kind of expected. So sorry if that question didn't measure up to your lofty standard.
We can go back to so many different throwbacks. Is it just one throwback that the people really
like?
Or
the 70s throwback. That's the one that they love.
Okay.
Which is the one that they always wear, which they will continue to wear twice a year.
All right.
I personally, I don't really care that much about uniforms personally, but for a lot of fans, it's for some reason it's important.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, but so they'll never go back to the 70s logo, like. So what are we doing here, like?
But a lot of fans want them to.
Yeah, but it's just nostalgic, and which is why they wear it twice a year, and you buy the merchandise, and Nike wins. Like,
well, and then the Dolphins win also, and I think that's part of the issue. There was a team, I want to say the New York Giants maybe went back to their old time logo at one point after modernizing it for a while. So it's not unprecedented, but again, based on Tom Garfinkel's answer, and then what Dan Marino said at the Super Bowl, which was basically that Stephen Ross loves a new uniform, so not happening. Okay, so Combine, I'm going to be in Indy, like I said later today. Weather actually is going to be really nice, except for Wednesday, which is crazy. Wednesday's like it's a low in the 20s and a high in the 60s. I mean, what is that?
It's Indy, and
I know, but it's.
And for those who don't know, the Combine is not about athletes running 40 times and doing on-field drills. That's just the window dressing and the excuse that they use to gather up and get together. And the medical checks, the measurements, the interviews with the players, but it's also about that. Those things are important for the draft pick, for the young, cheap labor that coming into the workforce. Hopefully your team is good enough to actually make good selections and add good players to their workforce, good cheap labor. Usually not, but it's about the tampering. It's about the negotiations. It's about the contract shakedowns. It's about the new deals that are going to get done. And to me, the important thing is figuring out what is on the Dolphins to-do list. And atop that, in my opinion, should be to figure out, okay, Christian, we got till March 5th to get a multi-year deal done. What's the number? Let's negotiate. Let's get this done and not wait until March 5th. Because March 5th is the date that they have to either use the franchise tag or the transition tag. And that's a topic, since we talked to Beasley, the more I think about it, the more I look at it, there's a $3.6 million difference between the franchise tag and the transition tag. And ultimately, if you just want somebody to negotiate the contract for you, why not put the transition tag on? Now, mind you, you're in a hot mess financially, so no matter what, they're going to be able to put a poison pill in the contract that's going to make it difficult for you to actually match it, which is what teams do. And there are a lot of teams that have great cap situations, and they could just screw you by putting a huge base salary on. But you're already, let's say you use the transition tag, you're already paying him $8.9 million in the books.
18.
So, $18 million. Yeah, I'm sorry. $18 million.
Small difference.
So is it worth $3.6 million, which is like an additional player in cap space, if not two? Is it worth $3.6 million to prevent teams from bidding on it?
Well, let's also explain that the transition tag gives the team the opportunity to match, or you let them walk for nothing. The non-exclusive franchise tag, you have the right to match, and if you don't match, you get 2 first-round picks as compensation. And teams generally don't do that anymore. I think it happened with Sean Gilbert way back when. That's way before your time. And then there's the exclusive franchise tag, unless I'm mistaken, which is still available, which is a higher number, and that the free agent can't even talk to anybody. But since nobody's giving up 2 first-round picks,
and let me put this in context so players hate the franchise tag. It's not a welcome thing. So it's not a sign of respect. It's really, they view it as a sign of disrespect because you're not taking care of me. You're making me play for 1 year on a high rate, but I have no injury protection. And generally when guys go into contract, go into years with the final year of guaranteed money there, they want a new deal. So Tyreek Hill wants a new deal. So this is his final year where the money's guaranteed. Tyreek's like, pay me my money. But here's the thing. If the Baltimore Ravens can slap Lamar Jackson with the franchise tag, a non-exclusive franchise tag, which allowed anybody out there to bid and negotiate, and everybody turned their nose up at Lamar Jackson, the MVP of the league.
Can I jump in here real quickly? Is it possible that there was some sort of an understanding among NFL owners of like, okay, go ahead, do that. We're not gonna touch your QB. He's all yours. Is it possible?
They would be the dumbest idiots. The Atlanta Falcons. Think about the Atlanta Falcons.
I agree with you.
Yes, there's collusion. Absolutely. When it's a league MVP, like what the hell were teams doing? Like seriously. Carolina Panthers, they traded players and picks for the quarterback for the #1 spot when they could have just got Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but they were rebuilding. Atlanta to me is like the poster child of. I mean, had they had a quarterback, that team wins the NFC South, and I mean easy.
Yeah, no, but my point is that if Lamar Jackson, the MVP of the league, can be franchise tagged and then demand a trade, and then he ultimately figure it out on like draft day. If they can make it work and figure it out, the Dolphins and Christian Wilkins can make it work. Now, the question is, how committed are you to paying him $20 million plus a year? And do you feel that it's worth it? Now, if Christian goes to the open market, I have a belief that he'll at least get 19 million. I don't know if he'll get 20, but he'll be handsomely compensated because Christian checks every single box that you want a player to check. Now, the question is, are teams paying good defensive tackles at? And considering the franchise tag is now $22 million, it seems like they are paying those players that high premium price. So, you know, the Ndamukong Suh days are here. Everybody's getting the Ndamukong Suh money.
Yep. And again, as we've discussed before, it's not just, again, what he provides on the field. He's a foundational piece. This was your first draft pick when you started the rebuild tank, whatever you want to call it. And he's also a tone setter, and he's a leader on this team. And you mentioned that point, and what message does it send if you let that guy go? The idea of you're supposed to draft and develop. Well, I mean, talk about this was your draft and develop guy.
This is the hallmark of draft and develop. Like, there's injury. I mean, durability. He's gotten better every year. He's been a captain multiple years, team leader, tone setter,
NFLPA rep.
Yeah. That's usually held against them, but yes.
So and then furthermore, you couldn't agree on a price last offseason. You basically went ahead and go ahead, play on the 5th-year option, and we'll see how it goes. And the dude did that, and he balled out. So, but I agree with you. That's priority number 1. And then after him, and by the way, I wanted to address this. If anybody's wondering why the hell Indianapolis for the combine, it's because the downtown area is like this small. You can walk from anywhere, convention center to hotels where the teams are stationed and all that.
Not a small walk when it's cold, though. But
they also have tunnels. You can walk inside from one place to another, and it's massively convenient. I mean, I'm gonna get an Uber from the airport to the hotel, and an Uber back from the hotel to the airport when I come back, and that's it. You don't need a car in Indianapolis. You can walk.
Yeah, and they got those little scooters too that are out there.
Well, I'm renting one of those. Yes.
Yeah, I rode those. I rode that around. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely love that. Much to my wife's. My wife's like, no, you got to be careful. I'll be fine. Anyway, so that's why it's in Indianapolis, and that's why if you see if you're wondering, because there's talk every once in a while of let's put in LA and all that or somewhere else, and you will know, you'll see on Twitter all the NFL writers are like, no, you got to keep it in Indy. You got to keep it in Indy.
Yeah. Except for Chris Perkins hates Indy.
Why?
Let
me guess, because it's too cold. It can get cold, but again, this week it's not going to be cold. It's not going to be cold. But
it's a Can City. He like it's like a chain franchise. He doesn't like Indy because it's very redundant and has no character in his mind. But I'll let him speak for himself.
But, yeah, this is what maybe we'll have to do a return appearance of Perkins and Beasley on another.
Yes, Chris Perkins hates Indy and Orlando. He's fine with all the other cities, Green Bay and whatnot. Buffalo, he loves Buffalo. I don't know how, but he hates Indy and Orlando. Yes, but Orlando, and I have no issues with either of them.
Disney has Orlando. I mean, Orlando has Disney World. How can you hate Orlando?
Come on, Chris, I have kids.
Good point.
Yeah,
but Disney World's fun for adults.
But I do hate Disney World too. So
what?
I hate Disney World too.
But just wait till you take Mila and you see the joy on her face, and you'll be like, okay. And then maybe the child in you, the kid in you, is going to be like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. And they come up with new rides all the time. Anyway, then I agree with you. Christian Wilkins has to be priority number one. And then you move on from there. I did a story ranking the free agents and their likelihood of returning at alldolphins.com, which Omar has kept up there. Very good.
Okay, there you go.
I had number two. I'm trying to say what was Connor Williams or Robert Hunt. It's got to be one of those two. You see like the national media outlets doing those best fit story, and I've seen Robert Hunt of the San Francisco 49ers from two different outlets. You can shake your head. No,
they're not spending money on a guard. Mm-mm. Not San Fran. Mm-mm. Not how they're built.
Okay, well, they spend money on a tackle when they sign Trent or when they acquire Trent.
There's a difference, but Terry Williams is the best tackle in the NFL. Like
he's up there. He's up there. Anyway, this is not me saying this. This is a national media outlets. There were two different ones who said Robert Hunt as a good fit for the 49ers, which Omar is massively poo-pooing, but
I am massively poo-pooing. Love it. I want Rob to go and get his money, and I want him to be like people don't realize Rob has played 4 years on a rookie deal. He hasn't really made real money in the NFL. This is his first time and opportunity where he's going to have a chance to make real money. What he'll make in his first year of his contract is going to be more than he's made in his first 4 years.
Right.
So
and contract.
This is what sets up generational wealth. So I want him to succeed, but he's not high on my to-do list for the combine. In the combine, you know what I do? Drew Rosenhaus. We got to sit down. We got a cap situation here, and help me help you. Let's get Tyreek an extension. Let's get this deal done before the wide receivers hit the market, and then they set new pace deals because obviously Tyreek is the highest paid wide receiver, and he wants to remain the highest paid wide receiver. Better to do the deal now than two guys jump ahead of him, and you're going to have to compensate him drastically more. So let's keep him at his $30 million a year pace, and let's give him a nice fat $25 million signing bonus. Stretch out those cap numbers, stretch out those years, add 2 more years to the deal. I know me and Beasley fought about this. He doesn't want to extend an aged Tyreek. I'm sorry. Tyreek is just fine as he is.
He's also, and I don't want to rehash the same counterpoints as I did before. I don't want to. He's another guy. I'm not sure you want to lock yourself in. He did limp to the finish.
You need to create cap space. You don't want to lock yourself in. Who do you want to lock yourself in? Bradley Chubb is your option. Are you restructuring a guy coming off an
Christian Wilkins? Certainly Christian Wilkins.
Okay, that's a whole different ball game because Christian's either tag, not release, but let him hit the market, or sign him to a multi-year $120 million deal.
Okay.
You make the choice of what you want to do. That's there. I think they're going to tag him because Christian is a perfect opportunity to extend when you get that. When you get hit, Christian and Tua are the guys that when you get that Xavier Howard money, you can use that to kind of extend them then. But right now, I'm worried about I need to create cap space. There's only certain mechanisms and players that can help you create cap space. They are Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, Bradley Chubb, Zach Sealer. And I'm not even going to count Durham Smythe and Alec Ingold and the smaller money guys. And I hate to say smaller money because not
I'll take that smaller money.
Yeah, but and a lot of those players like Bradley Chubb, do you really want to restructure his contract and add another year of guaranteed money commitment when you don't know where he's going to come back from an injury? Do you really want to do that? Or how, how do you create the money if you're not going to extend your really good players? And Tyreek Hill is atop the list of really good players.
No, he is. I'm not debating his value. I mean, I voted for him for MVP team, and he was team MVP the past 2 seasons. I'm not arguing his value. I'm saying exactly how long do you want to commit to the guy?
All I'm saying is add 2 extra years to Tyreek's deal. And you add 2 extra years to Tyreek's deal, you get the cap space. Right now, at the end of the
season, they're going to do something. I know they're going to do something because his cap number is too high. I mean, that's not a question. But
yeah, I mean, his cap number is $31 million. He's got 19.7 million coming to him right now. You could give him all but $1 million in base salary in a signing bonus and and signing bonus, then throw on some roster bonuses. You could get yourself a good $20-25 million in cap space off Tyreek alone if you extend him. Now, the question is, do you want to do that? And why wouldn't you? Like, are you scared of a 33-year-old Tyreek Hill? Because realistically, if you extend him now, you basically be guaranteeing him the next 3 years. And then the deal would be fake money would surface it when he's 33. Are you worried about Tyreek at 33? Like, are you?
I don't think it's a slam dunk. He's going to be Tyreek in 3 years.
Okay, but why am I worried about it now? Why would I? Do you need to focus on 3 years future from now? If you're Chris Greer and you're at this pivotal point, you're at a critical stage, you need to create a ridiculous amount of cap space. You need to have tough decisions to make. You're probably going to get fired based on these decisions that you do make, whether or not they pan out or they don't pan out. Am I worried about 3 years from now with Tyreek Hill?
Dude, if you're going
to space now?
Yes, if you're going to go look at it like that, you're absolutely right. Then just extend everybody and to hell with 3 years down the road. I mean,
like, why the hell would I care about 3 years from now if I'm Chris Greer? Like, my job's on the line now.
Okay, but somebody's got to sign off on this, like, i.e. Stephen Ross.
You think Steve Ross is not signing off on Tyreek Hill, the best player in the NFL?
I don't think I go as far as the best player in the NFL.
10 playmakers.
Okay.
Name a better playmaker.
No, I'm not arguing with you again.
Christian McCaffrey. Okay, 1, 2. Like,
no, that's fine. Because the best player in the NFL is Mahomes, but that's a different story. Anyway,
best non-quarterback playmaker.
Okay, fair enough. I don't have no issue with that. I don't have any issue with that. But yeah, I can see. But going back to your point, yes, major conversation with Drew Rosenhaus because he not only represents Tyreek, he represents Connor Williams, he represents Jerome Baker. And there's got to be a discussion there because his cap number is 14.8 for 2024. And is that palatable?
I think you can. I think, the fact that they did not release Jerome when they released Emmanuel Ogbah and Xavier Howard means that we still have work to do. I'm sure that Drew is going to take him to the market and see what he could potentially get in Indy for what the interest level is for Jerome Baker. Teams that need inside linebackers. Jerome has been a productive starter for how many years has he been a starter?
6 years.
6 years in the NFL. A 6-year starter in the NFL that's generally been relatively durable, versatile, play outside linebacker, play inside linebacker, 3-4 verse, 4-3 verse. So the question is, what's the market for it? And I think you're at about 2 years, $10 million. Now, that could definitely help the Dolphins create a little cap space. You give him a David Long deal and see where this goes. See if he's a good fit for this new defensive coordinator. Or if you're Jerome Baker, maybe you're looking for a fresh start. Maybe you're looking to branch out and go somewhere else. Maybe you're tired of losing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, how that plays out. But
I'm not. You just say tired of losing. I mean, dude, they've had 4 consecutive winning seasons, made the playoffs twice.
Let me correct myself. Tired of losing in the playoffs. Tired of not being a contender. Yes. Tired of losing to Buffalo, as Jerome says.
What's the market for Jerome? And I like Jerome. He's a good dude. He's a solid player, but is he really an impact player who's going to get a lot of attention on the market?
I think he's going to get $5 million easily.
Correct. His cap number is 14 right now. So yes, absolutely. And totally with you on there. Like, there's a discussion to be had with like Drew. This is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe the Dolphins already have a number in mind and have thrown it at Drew, or they're going to tell Drew, go see what you can get on the market. Come back to us, and if give us
and they're I mean, that's how Jalen Ramsey got to the Dolphins. His agent was shopping him to NFL teams at the combine, and the Dolphins were extremely interested in high bidders. And that's another issue of things that the Dolphins need to add to their to-do list. There are players who are going to be out there who are going to be dislodged from their team, just like potentially Jerome Baker might be dislodged from their team. You can find a way to improve your roster with dislodged players. And this franchise has done so basically throughout the Chris Greer and Mike Tannenbaum era. Yep. And I don't see any reason why you can't improve this roster and create some cap space that route. Now, it might cost you some draft picks. And as you know, the draft picks, not having draft picks is why you haven't been able to create a good nucleus of young players on this roster. So they're tough decisions to make, but this is why Chris Greer gets paid the big bucks.
Correct. I want to backtrack here because you mentioned, by the way, it's like a little nugget here. So apparently, because you talk about what the combine is really about, and from a prospect standpoint and teams checking out, it's basically the 15-minute interviews they get, and also the medicals. A lot more so than the underwear Olympics, quote unquote. And strangely enough, like, there's a lot of guys who actually train hard to perform well at the combine, and then we'll switch to football training, which is different after the combine's done, because the idea is they want to put up good numbers, where it really should be all about the game tape, but that's a different story. Marvin Harrison Jr., so apparently the book on him is he's not going to do any of the combine drills because he wants to train for football. And he's going to be like a top 5 pick regardless. So I don't think that's good.
So what, is he not running a 40? He's not doing a combine, but is he going to do his pro day stuff?
Based on, I have to look. I just saw the headline. He's not doing anything at the combine. I'm guessing if he's not training for that, then he's not training for anything.
No. He's got to be training for. He's going to have to do.
No, he's doing football training, not.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, no combine training. That doesn't mean that you can't do a vertical and run a 40. I mean, but I can totally understand where he's coming from. He's Marvin Harrison Jr. He'll be a top 5 pick in this draft, and probably will walk away from this draft as probably the best player in it, depending on how a quarterback performs. So
I can tell you that I think it was Daniel Jeremiah, when he did his marathon conference call or Zoom session with writers last week, said that the 3 best players, or he may have put on Twitter, whatever, the 3 best players in this draft very well may be the top 3 wide receivers. It's a dude from Washington, Odunze, I believe his name is. Neighbors from LSU, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as far as the Dolphins are concerned, sorry, Omar, as far as the Dolphins are concerned and prospects, I mean, again, we'll know more as far as their positional needs, but the approach,
they need everything.
Pretty much, as I said before, the approach should be get guys in the first 2 rounds if they hang on to their picks. Get guys who are going to contribute like Achane did last year, as opposed to Cam Smith and Channing Tindall.
Mm-hmm. And there is also some buzz out there locally that Patrick Cain Jr. is on the market. I'm sure the Dolphins will have the conversations to see if he is procurable. But I think that if the Denver Broncos are going to trade Surtain, it's going to be for more than the 21st pick. So I
was going to say that. I mean, I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, everybody will do it in a heartbeat but I think I think you'll hear some talk about that during the combine. And while Dolphin fans will be absolutely excited about the possibility of Patrick Surtain Jr. coming here, I just don't think it's doable for Miami because they don't have much to offer when other teams can offer plenty more. So this is
Well, you
something.
can. So tell me, would you consider a first this year and a second next year?
No, no.
From which standpoint? From the Denver standpoint or from the Dolphins standpoint?
From the Dolphin standpoint, no. Because then I still have to give him a pace-setting contract.
Well, correct. Uh,
How about I actually go in the draft and get my own and actually develop my own and find the next Xavier Howard? You've done it once. Maybe you could do it again. How about we do that? Not to say that he's not a talented player who could be a difference maker, who can't be a great complement to Jalen Ramsey, but I'm sorry. It's you've done this road so many times.
and that's the point. And you've also mentioned yourself. I'm gonna use your words against you that look for the Dolphins to make that kind of splashy move.
They are. They absolutely are. I just don't think they have. If it's the 21st pick, sign me up. I'm good. You just can't continue to give away your future for this run. And if adding Surtain that drastically much better than keeping Xavier at some point, keeping Xavier at a lower price?
I mean, Surtain's better right now.
Surtain's better right now, but he's still going to require an Xavier $19 million.
Sure.
So why would I do that when I could possibly get Xavier back for 8?
Because one's 25 and the other one's 30.
I'm not thinking long term. I'm just thinking about winning in 2024 because after that.
Because X has been bothered by injuries the last 2 years, and then those things don't generally tend to stop happening.
I'm agreeing with you, but why would I do Surtain at 19 and a first and a second when I could just do X at 8 for 1 year? And
again, because the expectation. See, I don't think the move of moving on from X to me wasn't solely about his cap number, even though, because to me it was about he's gotten hurt the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's not getting any younger for a cornerback. Mm-hmm. And you start getting injuries like that, mm-hmm. they usually tend to go like this. They don't like all of a sudden bounce back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I think the Dolphins decided, he's not anywhere. He's not worth the money we're giving him anymore. It wasn't an issue of.
I mean, nobody's going to say he's worth the money that they were on the books to pay him. But that's why that's the game of the business of the league, which is why I always tell people when the guaranteed money's up, the deal is up. So, stop, unless it heavily favors a team, the guaranteed money's up, the deal's up. So it'll be interesting to see how they move forward. I think there's also a laundry list of guys that they're going to talk to see about signing for 1 year, $2 million deals, and just give out a laundry list. These are our offers. If you can, the Nick Needhams of the world, the Brandon Joneses of the world, if you can go find something better, please do so.
Or first come, first serve. This is our offer. We're going to put it out to 5 different guys.
First come, first serve. The Deshaun Elliott's of the world, and then I think Duke Riley probably needs to. You could add a year to Duke Riley's contract, get yourself some cap space. So
I think his number is very high, though.
No, but it'll help you create
3 mil.
Yeah.
So. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Next time we speak, I will be in Indy.
Yes, and we'll figure out how we will do that. And what day does Mike McDaniel talk?
Mike McDaniel is scheduled to speak at Podium 6 on Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Tuesday at 1 p.m. So we will be podcasting after Tuesday at 1 p.m. Looking forward to that. And we will be back later this week, and we'll figure out what we do. But Poupard's at the Combine, so we'll be here. I'll be filling in on Joe Rose Show Thursday and Friday. But you know how we do it. On alldolphins.com, you can find all our work for free, no paywall, no subscription, no monthly charge to your credit card. And Poupard's got 3 stories up right now, and I'm going to produce something about the Dolphins to-do list for the Combine. Looking forward to seeing you later this week. As you know, we're here all week, so you can get your Dolphins content right here at All Dolphins. All righty, folks.